Welcome. Today we are going to learn how to record and edit our podcast using Aviary.com's audio editor called Myna. So when we navigate to the website, we will see this homepage. I need to log on by clicking Log In, which is the pink button on the top right. Then you're going to enter your login credentials and click Login. Then you're going to see that your name is in pink on the top right. That's how you know you're logged in. Now that I'm logged in, I'm going to click Launch. It may take a bit of time to load, and the status bar will show you how much time you have until it is fully loaded. Now you're going to be able to see the dashboard. On the top, you have the title, which right now is untitled, but we'll change that in just a moment. The menu toolbars, zoom in and out with the little magnifying glasses, the edit, select, and scroll toggles, your 10 tracks, and the music/audio files provided on the bottom. In the middle, you have the measure and time switch. I prefer time, so I'm going to click on time. Your playback controls, and your record button next to beats. Now I'm going to untoggle the library so I can see the tracks better by clicking the library button on the bottom left. Now I want to save my podcast and give it a title. So I'm going to click on File on the top left, Save As, and it will come up with a screen where you can give your creation a title, which this will be called My Podcast. And I'm going to describe it saying this is an intro to podcasting. And I'm going to save as a new creation. It will take a little bit to save. Now you'll see on the top left that it was called My Podcast, where it previously said Untitled. And it's good practice to continue to save your file every few minutes or so you do not lose any of that information. In order to record what I want to say in the podcast, I am going to click the Record button on the lower right next to Beats. This will bring up my microphone settings. I want to be sure to hit Allow so I can record. To record, I hit the red button, and to stop, I hit the button again. This is a podcast. I'm saying my text that I prepared ahead of time. I hope you enjoy my podcast. This is Mr. Mundy signing off. Now that I am finished recording, I'm going to click Import to Project. I'm going to title this My Audio Text and click Save. It's going to process my audio, and it's going to show me my processing time in %, as well as the loading time. On the right, you'll see that it has put my imported audio into imported files. I can delete that file, or I can play back that file if I'd like to. This is a podcast. So I'm going to click and drag my file, and you'll see that it's going to create a bar, and I'm going to place it as far to the left as possible on track 1. Going to let go, and you'll see the actual audio where my voice is and where it is not. So anytime that you have audio in here, you can either click the space bar, or you can press the play button on your playback menu on the bottom in the middle, and you're going to hear your audio. This is a podcast. I'm saying my text that I prepared ahead of time. Now, if I do not like something, I can clip my file, and we call that trimming. So, since there's a lot of time in the beginning here, I'm going to take my trim start corner, and I'm going to drag it to the right so that it starts right with my audio. Now I'm going to drag the clip back over to the left so it starts right away. Anytime I want to play from the beginning, I can drag my red bar all the way back to the left by clicking on the triangle. And then when I start to play it again, you'll see it'll start right away. This is a podcast. Now, if there are any awkward pauses or something you do not want in your podcast, you can select the selection mode in the toggle switches on the top. Click on select, and I'm going to select a little break that I had that I don't want because I want it to be as short as possible, and I'm going to hit the delete key or the backspace bar. Then I'm going to drag my clip back over to shorten that gap, and you'll hear there will be no pause anymore. I'm saying my text that I prepared ahead of time. I hope you enjoy my podcast. Okay, so now I want to add some intro music, so I'm going to click the library button on the bottom left, and I'm going to select my music. Now, they have quantum tracks, rock beats, Aviary, which would have any of my saved files, and SoundCloud, which right now has nothing that I want. So I'm going to go to quantum tracks, and you can select CDs, styles, which go through different styles of music, and there's also keywords to help you narrow down your search even more. Now I am going to find my first song that I'm going to put in for intro music in the power and energy section, and it is called Round Them Up. Now you have three choices: intros, loops, or ends. Intros are good introduction music. Loops loop around over and over again so that you can have background audio. And ends have the end sounds that you might want to end your podcast with. Now all of mine happen to be ends, which you can use any of them anywhere, so that's okay. I'm going to scroll down so I can see track 2, and I'm going to select Round Them Up End 3 and drag it onto track 2. And you'll see that it comes up in the imported files, which I'm going to hide by making the left imported button clicked. And then I'm going to click my library so that it minimizes the library. Now I'm going to scroll back up. Now in order to scroll to the right or the left, you can use the scroll bar, or you can use this bar at the top. Click and drag, and it will drag along your entire podcast. So that's an easier way to find things sometimes. So I'm going to bring my arrow back. Now if I left it where it was, everything would sound very jumbled. And you can't even hear me talking in the podcast. So I'm going to drag it back over, and now I'm going to drag my audio so that my voice can be heard, so that it's towards the end or the decline of track 2, which is my intro music right now. So I'm going to click it, and I'm going to trim the end in so that it doesn't have all that time on there. Now I'm going to click the auto button on the left side under track 2, and it's going to show me fades, gain, and pan. We're only going to worry about fades today. So we're going to take this square cube that says fade out, and I'm going to click it and drag to the left. What that is going to do is it's going to make the music go silent or go quieter down this line. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to move this so that it begins at the fade where it starts to fade down. And when I go back and I play the clip now, you're going to hear that it gets quieter at the end. saying my... Now right now it still overlaps too much, so I'm going to drag it over just a little more so that I can hear myself speaking at the end of that music. This is a podcast. So now you can hear the intro music and my audio that I want on the podcast. I'm also going to go ahead and put in some background music and some exit music. Hold on 1 minute. Now that I added that music, I'm going to click the save button to continue to save my work so that I know that my work will not go missing if the computer crashes. Now it's going to tell me that I should mix down, but I'm not going to do that now, so I'm going to X out. Now I'm also going to add in by clicking Auto, Fades, and dragging the box over so that this fades in when the other one fades out. I'm going to go ahead and grab my scroll bar at the top, scroll over to see the end of my music, and I'm going to add the fade at the end. And I'm going to also place a fade on the beginning of this music as well. So auto, fades, drag the box over. At the end, it automatically fades out. So now I'm going to click auto to hide those again, and I'm going to test out my completed podcast. This is a podcast. I'm saying my text. Now, right now, you still can't hear my talking because the background music is too loud. So I'm going to select this in track 3, and I'm going to make my audio about half the volume by dragging the slider to the middle underneath track 3. So I'm going to try it again, and I should be able to hear everything. This is a podcast. I'm saying my text that I prepared ahead of time. I hope you enjoy my podcast. This is Mr. Mundy signing off. And there you have it, my completed podcast. So I'm now going to click Mix Down, which will save it as an audio file that I can play or share with others. Now this will take some time because the mix down will clearly need to happen at a slower pace, because it's going to combine all of our tracks and make one final audio file. Now you'll be able to download it in MP3 or WAV format